Hey everyone, I'm Kim, the mom boss behind EmeryandK. Welcome back to my channel. For Craftmas Day 4, I have a full tutorial on this stunning tumbler with a blinged out top. It's super simple. I promise if I can do it, so can you. Let's get to it. As always, we're going to start with a fully prepped and painted cup. So today I am using this 20-ounce handy Slurp from Stainless Depot, and I sanded it, washed it, and then painted it with the color Cash from Color Shot, just this really gorgeous evergreen. And then I mixed up some epoxy. I put a really tiny amount of epoxy on my tumbler. Like, I dip my fingers in the epoxy like twice, and that's all I put on my cup for fine glitter. And I'm going in with Howard Green from the Glitter Guy. This is a brand new color. It's a holographic and it is so pretty. So I'm going to make sure that I get really good coverage with my glitter. I'm going to put it back on my turner and let that epoxy coat cure, and then I'll give it a good coat of my Rust-Oleum 2x clear gloss and put another coat of epoxy over my glitter. Usually I can do just one over my fine. Occasionally I need two, but you just want to epoxy it until it's smooth. While our epoxy is curing, we're going to move on and do some work on our lid. So the handy Slurp comes with this really kind of funky dome lid, and I decided I wanted to bling it because Christmas is all about the sparkle. So I have some little gemstones. I just got a cheap kit off of Amazon. I'll make sure to link it below. I have the little wax tool. For the adhesive, I am using Liquid Fusion, and I just put it in a smaller bottle because it's easier. And we're going to go ahead and start to bling this. Now, in total, I would say this took me about an hour. It was like an episode of Gilmore Girls I was watching when I was doing it. I used pretty big stones. Obviously, the smaller the stone, the longer it's going to take. I am also doing a mixture of different sizes because I didn't have enough of just all the same size, and I kind of like that. I think it's scatter is what they call it, but I kind of like all the different shapes mixed together. I think it just makes it extra sparkly. So I am just taking the little wax side of my tool, and I'm just carefully picking up a little rhinestone and putting it on my glue. I usually do just a small strip of glue, a couple of inches at a time. I don't do too much or it will dry too fast. But I also have 2 kids, so I get easily distracted. But if you are doing this without any distractions, you could probably put a little bit more glue on at a time. So I am just going to randomly grab whatever size little rhinestone that I want to, and I'm putting it on my cup. Now, it's important with this dome style lid that you start at the bottom. I showed you guys just a minute ago that kind of ridge, and you can see it here on the lid. You want to make sure you start at the bottom, because if you start at the top of this, obviously gravity is going to kind of pull those stones down. So make sure you're starting at the very bottom and lining up that row with that little ridge on your tumbler, and you're just going to continue to go around until you have the entire lid blinged out. So I did record some of this. I didn't record all of it though, because like I said, it was about an hour that it took me to do the entire lid, and my phone battery was too low to record the whole thing, and I didn't think it was necessary. So I will speed up what I did record, and then we will move on to doing the decals on our tumbler. Once you have finished blinging out your entire lid, just set it aside to dry. I usually just give it a couple of hours to fully dry before touching it or messing with it, just so that you don't mess it up. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to decaling our tumbler. So if you guys see my tutorials, you know I get a lot of my decals right from Cricut Design Space. I do use their Cricut Access, but there's so many cute things on there. There's people who like hand draw them and you get to use them for free. So I love doing that. So I went on there and I found this really adorable Merry and Bright decal, and it had a little light bulb, so it really went well. So I did a 0.03 offset. You guys know I love to offset my text decals. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. I cut that out in just a really pretty silver that's going to match the little wire on our lights. So of course I'm going to grab my ruler. I'm going to measure my decal just to make sure that it's straight. So this one where it's kind of a script, I'm going to go for the and in the middle because that's a nice straight text. Alternatively, if you know the top of the paper that you cut your decal on is straight, you can go from that. But this was a scrap piece of silver that I had, so it wasn't straight, which not a big deal. I just went from that middle text. So I'm going to apply this decal using, I think people call it the hinge method. I actually never know for sure, and one of these days I will find out. But I'm just going to have an extra piece of transfer tape holding my decal on nice and straight. I'm going to carefully remove that backing, push my decal down in the center, and then out on each side. So super simple, nothing too fancy here. And then I'm going to move on to applying my main text over that. And if you guys have seen some of my other tutorials, you know that I prefer to layer word by word. So with this one, I'm going to do Merry and Bright each by itself, and I'm going to do all the little pieces and the light bulbs by themselves as well, just so that I can make sure everything goes on straight the very first time that I put it on there. I don't have to peel it off, recut it, and do it all over again. After we have finished layering our text, we're going to move on to our Christmas lights and the wire. So this is actually a design I did a couple of years ago, and I cannot remember if this SVG came from Cricut Design Space or from Etsy, but I will find out and I will put it in the description box below. But basically you just want to search like Christmas light SVG and choose one that you like. I chose this one because I like that it had the Christmas light string that had the little loopies in it, but it also had the ones with just kind of the up and down. I like the variety of like string shape, I guess you would call it. So we are not going to use transfer tape when we apply this to our tumbler. We're really going to let the vinyl just kind of decide where it wants to go. So I just pull a little piece back to expose one of the ends of my little Christmas light string and apply it to my tumbler. So I just did that at the top, and then carefully just peel the backing away and just let the string go where it wants to go. And as far as adding on the other shapes, you can connect them. So like right there, if I wanted to connect it to the loop, I would literally just stick that string right there on the edge, or you can start it, you know, on the bottom or the top edge of your cup. There's really no right or wrong, but we're just repeating the process with the 4 strings that I've cut out. So here I want it to stop at the words, so I trim it. I have this little extra piece and I'm kind of deciding where I want to put it. So I'm going to stick it right there, and then I'm going to take another little edge piece that I have because my string tore, no big deal, and I'm going to just connect them together. So don't worry about if, you know, you will notice where your different light strings connect. You will not. I can guarantee you. Just place them right next to each other and nobody's going to know but you. So I'm just going to continue to go around and put all the little strings on my tumbler, and then I'm going to move on to my little lights. So you can do any colors that you want. There literally is no limit. I decided to stick traditional. I did red, blue, yellow, and green. And I will put the sizes that I did for my decals in the description box along with where I got them too. I'll go back and check. But you can do a pattern with your light colors if you want, or you can just not think about it and just throw them wherever you want. I kind of do a mixture-ish. I don't do like a super strict pattern. I just try to make sure that I don't have like 2 reds or 2 blues next to each other, just so that it's kind of balanced. So you're just going to fill all your little spots with light bulbs. If one goes over the edge like mine did there, you can just trim it, or if it's too close to the edge, just trim that little square on your string so you don't even need a light bulb there. Then once I finish putting on all my little light bulbs, I will go ahead and do 2 more coats of epoxy on my tumbler, and it is finished. As always, I hope that you found this tutorial helpful, maybe a little bit inspirational. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on my video. If you want to see more tutorials in the future, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.